let's talk about improper fractions. And more specifically, we want to talk about using long division to convert improper fractions to mixed numbers. So I've already taken some time to write out this little chart so we can understand what fractions look like and how that's similar to division and how that relates to long division. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at number one. Number one, we have the improper fraction 12 divided by 5. So we can write it that way, 12 divided by 5. Okay, and if we wrote it as long division, we want to see how many times 5 can go into 12. Well, in order to see how many times 5 can go into 12, we want to do our multiplication facts. So 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15. So the goal here is to get as close to 12 without going over 12. And since 15 is more than 12, we want to stop at the multiple of 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So we can say 5 times 2 is 10. And when you write the 2, you put it above the 2 that's in the ones place, directly above it. So 5 times 2 is 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. And we know that 5 can't go into 2. So 2 is our whole number. This 2 right here is our numerator, and the 5 is going to remain as our denominator. So if I was writing 12/5 as a mixed number, I would write 2 and 2 2/5. Okay, oops, go back to draw, and 2/5. All right, final answer. Number 2. Number 2 says 18 divided by 7, so we can write it that way as a division sentence. 18 divided by 7. And if we were using long division, we would want to see how many times 7 can go into 18. Okay, once again, we want to use our times tables, rely on our multiplication. So 7 times 1 equals 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. All right, we don't want to go over 18. We want to get as close to 18 as possible. So the closest we can get to 18 is 7 times 2. And 7 times 2 is 14. So we go ahead and subtract. 18 minus 14 is 4. We know right here we can go ahead and stop. The 2 on the top is our whole number. The 4 down here is our numerator. And the 7 is going to remain our denominator. So if I wanted to rewrite 18 divided by 7 as a mixed number, I would write 2 and 4 sevenths. 2 and 4 sevenths. And that would be our final answer. Number 3. Number 3 says 15 divided by 4. And we could perform long division to see how many times 4 goes into 15. And once again, we're going to rely on our multiplication facts, and we want to get as close to 15 without going over it. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. And then 4 times 4 is 16. Well, 16 is more than 15. So we want to stop at 4 times 3. So 4 times 3, that's going to make 12. And then we're going to subtract. 15 minus 12 is 3. We can stop here because 4 cannot go into 3. The 3 on the top is our whole number. The 3 down here is our numerator. And that 4 is going to remain our denominator. So if I wanted to rewrite 15 divided by 4 as a mixed number, I would write it as 3 and 3/4. And that would be our final answer. All right, number 4, the last one. So number 4 says 241 divided by 10. 241 divided by 10. And if I wanted to perform long division, it would look like this. 10 goes into 241 how many times? All right. once again, we want to rely on our multiplication facts, but this time I want to go ahead and jump. We know that multiplying, and you should know that multiplying 10 times a number is really, we say adding a 0, but you're just moving over a decimal place value, okay? So let's go ahead and start with 10. If we know that 10 times 10 is 100. We need to get bigger than that. Well, let's do 10 times 20. 10 times 20 is 200. All right, that's close, but let's see if we can get closer. We can do 10 times 21. That makes 210. If we did 10 times 22, that would make 220. If we did 10 times 23, that would make 230. And if we did 10 times 24, that would make 240. So this is going to be as close as we can get, because we know if we do 10 times 25, and we'll write it down, 10 times 25, that's going to make 250, and 250 is too big. So we know that 10 times 24, and the 2 is going to go over the 4, the 4 is going to go above the 1. 10 times 24 is 240, and we're going to go ahead and subtract. When we subtract, 241 minus 240 is equal to 1. 10 cannot go into 1, so we know that the 24 is our whole number, the 1 is my numerator, and the 10 is my denominator. So instead of 241 divided by 10, we could write 24 and 1/10. And that, ladies and gentlemen, would be our final answer. That will conclude our lesson on converting improper fractions to mixed numbers.